What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Now, today we have another Pokemon Regionals question and answer video, and this time we have Chase's deck, who got first at Seattle Regionals, and as you see, it is a Mega Manectric deck with Black Kyurem. Now, Mega Manectric has attack Turbo Bolt. You do 110, you attach 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. You have Black Kyurem here with Black Bliss, which does 200. You discard 3 energy cards attached. Discard 3 energies attached to this Pokemon. Sorry about that. You have the Kill deal with the Russian ability, so that we can switch Pokemon. And then you also played 2 Empoleon for the Diving Draw. Once your turn before you attack, you may discard a card from your hand. If you do, draw 2 cards. And Attack Command, which does 10 damage times the number of Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponent's. That's pretty good non-EX attacker that you can have and help draw through your deck, which seems pretty cool. But overall, the list is really solid. And if you give me just a second, you'll see Chase's Day 2 list. Alright, so for Day 2, Chase actually went totally different. Instead of playing Mega Manectric, she actually went for an Evoltal EX Archeops deck. Now, most people know what this deck does, except the Archeops. It seems a little bit different. Now, Archeops has the ability Ancient Power. Each player can play any Pokemon cards, or any Pokemon from his or her hand to evolve his or her Pokemon. So at this time, the only way to get around this was Evo Soda, and now in the new set, EV Evolution, that's another one too. Anything that like searches the deck and evolves automatically is something to work. Like I think Ascension works, if I remember correctly. Evo Soda, Energy's Evolution, or Energy Evolution works around Archeops. And also another thing he added in the expanded was Dark Path. A basic dark energy from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon, and it's basically like an Evoltal attack. But hopefully you enjoyed the interview. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and yeah, just enjoy the interview. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Today we're doing a regionals question and answer video. And what's your name?
I'm Chase Moloney.
And what regionals are we talking about?
We're talking about the Seattle Regional Championship.
Okay.
That happened last weekend.
Okay. So I know that you played the Mega Manectric and Empoleon deck for Day 1. So what were some of the decks that you played against, and did you win or lose against them?
Okay, so I played against round 1 Virizion Genesect. I'll give the slight backstory is I had like I think 1 game with the deck before the tournament. It was like 2 a.m. in our hotel, and my friend Trevor's like, I was going to play Executor, and he's like, oh, I think this beats it. You wanna like play a couple games? And then he beat me like 1 game, so I pick up the deck. We swap, and then I beat him. I'm like, this seems cool. I guess I'll play it tomorrow.
Just randomly, alright, we're going to play a deck.
Yeah, well, I mean, he said he'd tested it and, like, said it worked, so I was like, I don't know, I'll try it. So I was like, yeah, I feel like this could work. So, yeah, round 1 I'm up against, we changed the list up a little bit, though. We added a Spiritomb, and that ended up working pretty well, because I faced Virizion Genesect round 1, and the deck kind of worked perfectly. My first like tournament game with it, I just go like, I think, yeah, it was like turn 2. I'd gone through so many cards in my deck with like Compressors, Junipers, and Acrobikes that I literally had like 12 cards left in deck.
Okay.
And my opponent had this like dead hand where I think he might have had an Emerald Slash, but if he did, it was like onto another Virizion. And he goes like, okay, I don't even know if this is a good play, but trump card. And I was like, I don't even know if I mind this. And I just kind of went through the deck again the next 2 turns before. Well, like he just had this dead start, and I just was like turn 2, like Spiritomb, Mega Manectric, like Turbo Volt, 2 energies. I think game 2 was like about the same. Like I got a slightly weaker start, but I think he was like even more dead or something. It was pretty unfortunate for him.
Mm.
But the matchup seemed like really good. Like with the Spiritomb, they have no way to like one-shot anything on your board, and you can just like 2-hit KO or even like use Black Ballista to knock out something in 1 hit. So then round 2, I played against Chris Collins with his Evoltal deck, and I think my opening hand, like the first game, I thought I was just gonna lose. Because I had like, it was like 2 I was like starting Mega Manectric. I had like Battle Compressor, Water, I think it was like Battle Compressor, Water, Float Stone, 2 Mega Manectrics, and like that's it.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, there's no way I'm winning this. But I think I ended up topping either that turn and then, yeah, it was like I attached Water and passed. But then the next turn I ended up hitting the Sycamore, and I think I did get the turn 2 Turbo Bolt, like off that. I think I got my third Mega Manectric, and that, yeah, I ended up getting the Keldeo Float before he could Quaking Punch. Like, I just, once you kind of set that up, like the Yveltal match is like basically over with the Rough Seas.
Yeah.
Like, they just can't do enough damage, really. Like, they could load an Yveltal, but then they sort of lose to Manectric, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember as much. Game 2 was kind of like that, but like I started well, so that was also 2-0. Was round 3. I played against a mirror match actually. It was really close. It was probably within like four cards off, like at most.
Okay.
The only like notable difference I saw was he played like 1 Max Potion, which actually could have been pretty sketch for me. I remember game one, I was feeling really good. Like I felt like I had this like mediocre start where I like started Spiritomb and I had to have Jirachi, and I kept having these like this like super awkward bench, and I had like I think it was like 2 Mega Manectrics prize or just like something weird, but I managed to like pull through the game and like just get it into a spot where I could win. And eventually, we this game was like, I like actually like 35 minutes or something.
Yeah.
To the point where, like later in game 3, we actually went to time, even though we had 60-minute rounds. So I think it was like, okay, I think I had like 2 options. I had like a Black Kyurem loaded and like an Empoleon, and the next turn, if I could grab my Lysander, I could win if I could attack as long as I hit with like. But I just need to hit with the Empoleon this turn, and then I have energy for either a Black Ballista or an attack command next turn, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think I messed. I for some reason I messed up, and I went like Black Ballista, and I was like, oh, this is for some reason better, not realizing that he just goes, and then I like the second after I announced, I'm like, it was really dumb because now I'm out of energy, and he goes, Lysander, your Empoleon, knock it out, and I'm like, and I just lose the next turn because I can't respond, and he has his own Black Ballista. I'm like, oh well, there's no way I'm winning this series. We've used like 2/3 our time, and I just spent like I tried to come from behind, almost won, and then just misplayed on the last turn, right?
Yeah.
So we go into like game 2, and he gets this mediocre kind of start to my I think I've got like the turn 2 Turbo Volt, 2 energies on. I get going. I end up loading like I think it would be the turn 4 Ballista, but with like he's got this poor start. He doesn't have Manectrics going. So from there I load Black Kyurem to the point where I can just like I think I won like around like turn 6 or something, like just with Black Ballista Lysanders, like before he can do anything to respond to it, right?
Yeah.
So I remember thinking, okay, maybe we actually have enough time for this game, for game 3, even though a lot had gone by. And I think from there it was like game 3. It actually starts about the same. I got pretty lucky in that he had this okay start, but he had some like weird attaches onto like that where he'd split his energy over like 2 Manectrics. Like one would be Megad, but then the other, and it just wasn't. And he was using Overrun, so I ended up like having a bit of a lead using Black Ballistas, and I remember I was at 2 prizes. I announced. No, I was at. Sorry. Okay, here's what it was. I was at 6 prizes.
Okay.
I go Black Ballista. I announced the Black Ballista, and then time is called, and I believe. The way, and there was a judge watching, and the way he ruled it was like, because I'd announced my turn was done, we were in between turns. So then his turn was turn 0, right?
Okay.
It was like right on the line where I think if I'd announced like a few seconds later, I would have been turn 0.
Mm-hmm.
But the way it ended up playing out was he had, so he had the I had, it was at the point where he had no way to win within the 2 turns he had, but within my 2 turns, if I could get like 2 Lysander, yeah, I got my knockout with Turbo Volt, so I had like a 6 energy Black Cure at this point.
Okay.
So I had to go Lysander, Black Ballista, Lysander, Black Ballista over 2 turns, but if I could do that, I could win within going back to turn 1 and then turn 3, right?
Yeah.
I think the 1 turn he has to, I think he had to like, he went for something like a trump card. He didn't have the N in his hand his first turn, so he just kind of went like pass, hope I didn't have it. I have the Lysander in hand and the attach. I Black Ballista go down to 2 prizes, go down to 3 energy. He plays his turn out. He goes VS Seeker for the N, propagates an egg back, rush in, retreats, brings that up. So we tie if I can't get it, ends me down. I have an Empoleon in play, so I've got the diving draw, and then I've got 3 energy, so I need energy and I want one of my 2 Versus Seekers in like a 12 card deck or something.
Yeah.
So I go for I'm N to 2, and I think it's like energy and something dead, and then I top Acrobike, and then I go Acrobike, and the second card is the VS Seeker. So for the diving draw, I've got it. And then I win on turn 3 with a second Black Ballista in a row or something.
Jesus.
Yeah, I was not expecting to win that one. That was probably my closest, or I guess not closest. It was a tough series. Like it wasn't close to me losing that game, but close to being a tie, right?
Yeah.
Trying to remember. Round 4 was bit less interesting. It was on stream, and it was another Virizion Genesect. Game 1, I just kind of got the regular setup, and if you do that, they win. I think he had like something like 3 plasmas prize, so it wasn't even like he had a chance of just like red signaling around and hitting the Spiritomb, right? Like you just and the Matrix has like so much HP, and it's not even like they can do the cool math thing where they because you can just rough seize it off. They have to be able to G booster like with a Deoxys to have a chance. But if you just set down a Spiritomb, they basically just lose.
Yeah.
But I remember that was game 1. This one was on stream actually, so this game will be up for on the bubble at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Game 2, I opened like Spiritomb Keldeo, and I'm like, okay, well my hand's a bit dead, but if I top out of this, I'm all right. Starting Spiritomb is cool. He can't ever G booster, and I mean if I draw an energy, I can like, I think it's Spooky Whirlpool, whatever the
Hexmere.
Yeah, Hexmere. Yeah, there. Spooky Whirlpool is like
the older
the
one.
triumphant card that you play down its power. I think I found that in some bulk today and remembered it. Anyway, so like, I start with that. I'm like, oh, this is okay. He goes like turn 1 attach. I pop him. Like, okay, I've got nothing. I mean, come on, I think I like dropped the Keldeo to like not bench out immediately, and he just animal slashes, and I have like another chance, and I've got multiple turns. He just benches me out without me ever like even attaching an energy that game. I'm like, okay, that's okay. I mean, I get to go first, but I'm just hoping I don't get like a second dead start, and I don't. I get a start that's workable. It was I remember game 3 I won, but it was a slow win in that I had some super awkward prizing. Oh, I remember what it was. I had this one turn where I had like computer search for Ultra Ball, so like I intentionally went for the like Jirachi, or it might not have been Jirachi, but in some way I went for the specific Archie's play, because like turn 1 I Sycamore and Archie's. It was like Sycamore, Archie's, VS Seeker, and something else, right?
Yeah.
So then I like go for the computer search to pull off the play with the VS Seeker, and then I'm like, where is it? And then I like look, I'm like, oh, okay, I have 3 VS Seeker prize. I guess I'm not getting that up. So I was
Yes.
like, this is a little bit of like a weird game because I couldn't. I'm like, oh, I just computer searched away a sycamore for that. That's probably bad. And then, so I like actually ran out of like supporters that game. I think I had one end like the one end left in my deck. So it made things weird, but like the basic energy attaches and the acro bikes were honestly enough to win the game. It got a little weird at the end there.
Yeah.
Um, what was round? I'm trying to remember my round 5 was it was another mirror sort of.
Okay.
It was mirror, but they weren't playing the Empoleon or the acro bikes, and they were running like I think he played one Mewtwo, and he was definitely playing like multiple Suicune and DCEs. Oh, and he
Okay.
played um game, and I didn't know this to begin with. I just knew it was kind of mirror. I remember like he the problem was I like the Suicune sort of caught me off guard in that I had like I think it was like 2 or 3 waters prized, and I kept getting these hands where I'd almost get the Archies, but then not, so I couldn't deal with the Suicunes, but I'd just rush in and like rough seas around them so they wouldn't do that much damage.
Yeah.
And then I ended up at one point he went for a play where he went Jirachi Lysander to take 2 prizes on my Keldeo, but I'd already taken 2 prizes by then. So from there I just went like, okay, Lysander, bring up your Jirachi, knock it out, go down to 2, put 2 on black on put like 2 or 1 on black Kyurem to like put it up to 3 or 4, and then I think that turn or the next turn or the turn after that I just Lysander up his Toad for the last 2. So I never end up actually hitting the Suicunes that game.
Okay.
I think I went through my deck like I trumped like 1 maybe 2 times that game where I'd play Lysander's VS Seekers and then I'd like VS again but for a trump, and then like the deck just went through itself so many times.
Mm.
Um, Game 2 was just he opens Spiritomb, goes I start attach energy, and I think a link, yeah, attach energy link, play like Sycamore or something. He attaches he no, he doesn't even have Spooky Whirlpool. He just passes, and then the next turn I Sycamore, and I think I hit the cards to like turn 2 or something. That was kind of a dumb game. I just got lucky on the donk there.
Yeah.
Um, so I hadn't lost at that point. So I was sitting at where the way the numbers were 602 would definitely cut. So I was hoping to win this next one and make it in. I was feeling pretty good in general. I remember the top tables were like, I think it was like Flareon versus Yveltal. There were like multiple Flareons and Yveltals at the top tables, and both of those are really good matchups for the deck.
Yeah.
So I was feeling pretty good, but then next to me there was the most terrifying auto loss, and my friend playing the same deck lost to it. It was not Primal Groudon, but Primal Groudon Aromatisse.
Okay. Okay.
So you don't win. They just load rainbows and like max, but you literally I'd have to hope he starts Spritzy and passes like twice.
True.
So, but next to me it was that versus Virizion Genesect, and the Virizion Genesect one. So I was like, okay, I think I've got just good matchups, and I ended up facing an Yveltal deck. It was the same list as it was another guy playing a list like similar to Chris Collins,
Hmm.
round 6, and it was like, but it was a super close game because what happened is I think the way it was game 1. I got this really mediocre start where I was just sort of dead, and he got like a ringer on one of my Manectrics after killing one, and I couldn't get Mega Manectric up all game, right?
Yeah.
But I ended up just like at one point I'd hit an Yveltal for 120 with like the regular Manectric's second attack, right?
Yeah.
So then throughout there I was like, okay, I mean, so at one point I think I hit it again. with an overrun to put, like, I kept using overrun, and I remember it's some weird game where I ended up winning just with, like, attacking with, like, Empoleon and like overrun and like Manectric 60 attack trading with like Dark Eyes and like Toads, and ended up just winning the trade on, like, I think it was like a Lysander on a Jirachi or something. Like, I don't even know if I attacked with Mecha Manectric all game.
Jeez.
Rough Seas is just really good. When I don't even know how that game worked, but it's some sort of long game overrun plan where I'd like switch between Manectrics.
Yeah.
I think the game after is kind of like that. Both were like, I remember it was like turn one, he ringers my Manectric and was like, oh dang, I like Ultra Ball for another Manectric, put a Lightning or a Water on it or something, Sycamore to try to get a Link, and I miss, or even a Float, like, and I miss, and then I was like, oh, but at this point I'd only seen the one. I was like, maybe he just plays the one ringer, and then he just immediately drops one on my bench. I was like, oh, we're playing the long game. And I was like, but I ended up just like Mega Evolving the one and using it, and like just like passing the turn away, but using Rough Seas, and I ended up like winning that one in the long run too.
Okay.
So at this point I'm 6-0. I've hit everything I want to hit. I'm pretty lucky. I'm locked for cut, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's not another 6-0 in the event. So I'm paired against a 501 playing eggs, and he's like, well, I've got to win one of my next two, so I'd like to play it out. Like, I offered the ID. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll play it out. And then I ended up like, I remember it was like this really convoluted thing, but I figured out his list. His list played like Acrobikes, but he didn't play any Flare Grunts or 06, which I found weird, but it worked out for me. And I even saw he at one point he town mapped, and he had like, it was like either, I think it was like, yeah, it was it was 2 Executor and a Trump card prized.
Okay.
And then he Junipered like an Executor turn 1. So it was like, okay, he got the blockade on me before I could get like a Turbo Volt off. But I was like, okay, well, if I kill this one Executor before he takes a prize on me, I just win.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening is I just like slowly top deck and like Rough Seas, and I ended up like I took 2 prizes on benched eggs with Overrun, but I ended up 5-shotting the active Executor with Overrun before he took a prize.
Okay.
So, and then he just scooped from there because he's like, well, I don't have eggs anymore. I was like, oh, cool. And then what was the game after that was super weird, but he had this, yeah, I remember it. He had this one turn where he misplayed. He thought he had knockout on me, but he only put me at 150. It was like knockout if I stayed active and took 30 poison the next turn.
Yeah.
It'd be knockout coming into his turn, but I think he like forgot to propagate. So what happened is I got everything, killed his active egg, and then he had a turn where he couldn't blockade. So I just played like a supporter and like set up and just I think I kind of won from there. I think he ended up taking like prizes with a Genesect or something crazy, but I just knocked that out.
Okay.
So at that point, I was like, oh, I guess I'm 7-0 now. And then I was like, I was highly, some friends were like, yo, you should play it out and go for like the 8-0. But I ended up playing against Mia Violet the last round.
Uh-huh.
And we're friends, so I was like, okay, no, she just needed the draw to make cut, so we just drew the last round. She was playing. It was interesting. I ended up facing, I think, her same deck later, but I switched decks. We played in cut later.
Okay. All right. So I want to talk about your day one deck just a little bit. So, I guess the one question is, why'd you only play the 1N?
The 1N, I mean, it's a really good card, but it's not. I almost like kind of want to set up first, and then when I need the end, like I can always Compressor and VS Seeker when I need it, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Like usually Sycamore's good early, and then, but there are still times when you want to end, of course, right?
Mm.
I guess that was basically like the theory behind it. It's sort of the same reason I play like 1N in Executor, and that like Sycamore's just a bit more draw, but like later on, once you're set up, the end can really be clutch.
Okay. Now you did only play the one Black Kyurem. Did you ever want more than that, or do you think that the one was pretty solid?
That's interesting because I've had some people question, they're like, "Oh, was even the one worth it?"
Mm-hmm.
And I would say yeah. Like the only there's only two times where you want more than one, I think, and that's in mirror. Charging two can be cool. So if they like Lysander Ballista with their own, you can respond.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you can actually play around. There's the Manectric Mirror actually has a fair bit more thought in it than I thought. Like before I ever played the deck, I thought it would have like the stupidest mirror ever, but it's actually not bad. There's a decent amount of planning ahead. Um, you kind of want it mirror, and you want it so you don't prize it against Frisian Genesect. But as long as you get an early Spiritomb, like you don't you honestly don't even need it in deck against Frisian Genesect, I think.
Okay. Now you only played the one Archie, so how many times did you get it turn one?
Turn one,
Yeah.
turn one, I want to say like 25%. It wasn't. It honestly, I didn't run that hot with the Archies. Like I'd get the optimal setups, but I wouldn't. I only got like Empoleon like maybe 50% of my games.
Okay. Now going on to day two, why did you decide to switch to the Evital Archeops deck?
Well, I felt like I'd been testing it a fair like I um after the first two regional like I'd had this is like my third regional cut and expanded, and both of the last two, like the last two I played, somehow I won one of those, but that was just like super lucky with like what I hit and then winning like Pyro Mirrors. And then the other one, I played Frisian Genesect to gamble on like my opponent playing like a Toad Puff like without any text for VG because that's what he played in Swiss, and then he switched to like Manectric Ho-Oh and destroyed me. So, like maybe I should test and find something just like good and expanded rather than trying to like metagame or something, like just blindly. So I tested Evoltal Archeops, and it seemed I had a list that I felt really good about. Like it was like its worst matchup is probably like Virizion, Genesect, or Evoltal Mirror, and those were like 50-50 for me.
Yeah.
So I just felt like the format was different. Like it seemed like it beat almost everything anyone could play, or at the very least it had a shot if I got like a quick Archeops up.
Mm-hmm.
Like I felt like there's nothing where if my opponent brings like this, I'm just burned and I lose, right?
Yeah.
So I felt pretty confident in it in general.
Okay. Now what happened in day two?
With day two, top eight, I'd gotten. I was pretty sure. I've been told my opponent had played a Flareon in Swiss, but also kind of liked Trevenant Accelgor. So I expected one of those, and then I found out on the day that he's playing. Someone told me he's playing Flareon. So and he ended up playing. Yeah, he was playing Flareon.
Okay.
So like game one, I think he mulligans once or twice. But like even before that, I knew I had the turn one Archeops. Like I had Ultra Ball Computer Search for my opening hand. I was like, okay, I think we're working with this. And just ended up like I had to discard like two double colorless or something. But I just as soon as I got it, he and even some people watching were like, oh man. I was like, oh yeah, we're really sacking this guy. I felt a little bad. I ended up getting like it was like a mediocre. I think it was like a turn three Night Spear or something, but that was like more than enough. Like he had like the one Energy Evolution Eevee in his deck, so I
Mm-hmm.
guess his hope was like he has to get his like one Grass or something, Energy Evolution into the Leafeon, also have the DCE or flip heads, or like have the DCE and then either have a no, he wouldn't even have band. So come to think of it, he'd have to like Lysander my Archeops and flip
Okay.
heads,
Yeah.
knock it out, and then try to win the game from there. And I just kind of started attacking with Darkrai and Toad before he could do that.
Okay.
Um, game two was basically the opposite of that. I think I got an early Quaking Punch, but but it didn't matter. Like he had like a really good opening with EVs like prepped for Leafeon on turn 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely didn't have I never got the Archeops that game. I ended up having like I think it was like yeah, it was like 3 Ultra Ball and a computer search prized. And there was this one point in that game where I had to I had to bench Jirachi not for a supporter, but just so I didn't get benched the next turn.
Okay.
When I did that, I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm losing this game. If I didn't have like 50 minutes left, I'd just scoop. And then game 3 is a little bit uneventful again in that I was just like, I think it was either turn 1 or it wasn't turn 1, but it was the turn 2 Archeops. But I was going first because I lost game 2. And again, I just set up before he could do anything, and there's a point where he just like had to scoop.
Okay. So what happened in top 4?
Top 4 was I was paired against Mia's. I think she ended up playing the same deck in Standard as Expanded. I don't even know if she changed a card. It's a deck that definitely works in both. She's playing Toad, Jinx, Keldeo, and of course Dusknoir.
Yeah.
And which I felt would be like about an even matchup for me. Like in my testing, like something like Toad Masharna was actually a really good matchup because like with Keldeo, like you have your Toad to slow them, but also you have like Keldeo for like rush and retreat, and you just like I felt like if you ever got your board like even slightly set up, you just trade with them and they don't do enough damage if you can like heal the laser off.
True.
But she just got these like really mediocre starts where she didn't have an early Toad, or she'd have it, but then I'd knock it out and she'd miss, and then I'd like go Compressor, Ultra Ball, Dark Patch, and just eventually I'd have these like insane Evoltal boards, and she'd be like Russian, pass with the Keldeo, hope I don't one shot it. It was bad. I felt pretty bad about those. I feel like the matchup could have been closer because the Jinx would have healed off like me trying to set up knockouts with my Toad. If I'd gotten some slower starts, that her deck can definitely get like her deck wasn't slow either. Like she played roller skates and stuff. She just never hit them, or there's a few times she just hit tails on them.
Yeah. All right. So going to the finals, are you nervous at all?
Yes and no. See, I knew. So an interesting thing happened is that one of the top 8 players, he was unable to play. Like he made top 8, but he was like, I think he had something where he couldn't show up, right?
Yeah.
So the guy, yeah, actually the guy who couldn't show was like 2nd seed. So the guy was like 7th seed, just got like an automatic into top 4. So before he played top 4, no one knew what he was playing, right? Because you could switch decks.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember hearing that it was 2 Cali players, Kian Amani and Oscar Morales. They played each other top 8, and I was hoping Kian's Toad Masharna would win, but he lost out to Oscar's Manectric Black Kyurem, right?
Okay.
I was like, ooh, I don't know if I want to face Manectric Black Kyurem. If I don't get a quick Archeops to block the Mega, that'll just roll me. Like I know that from playing it day 1.
True.
But then I look over, like I'm like during my top 4 match, I look over, I see, on Oscar's side, I see a Manectric and like a Keldeo on the bench or something, but then on the other side of the table, I see like Lucario, Landorus, like 2 Zubat. I'm like, oh yeah, come on. Yeah, I really hope that guy won. And the Landorus Crobat did end up winning. So I knew it definitely wasn't just a straight up win, but I did feel I did definitely feel favorable going against Landorus Crobat. So I was feeling pretty good about it. I was feeling like if I keep running generally how I'm running right now, and it is a positive matchup, I felt positive about the finals. But of course, there's still a bit of nerves, right?
That's true.
So yeah, that matchup, it was like what was it? Game one was a little close because he played the Deden, and I got decent starts, but like not insane, and he got pretty set up that game. I never had a time when Archeops was like a viable option game one, but I ended up I ended up taking it in the end just through some favorable trades with like Evil Soul, and so I think. Oh yeah, my top four and finals matches will also be on the bubble at some point as well.
And when they come out, I'll post them down below too. So
Oh sweet.
yeah.
Yeah, you can do that. You can link things. So, and then game two, I opened like Jirachi and like tried to set something up, but Juniper like patches and like ended up with this hand where I had to like pass multiple times, and he just sort of rolled me. Like he got everything he needed, and I think I attacked like maybe 3 times in game two.
hmm
It was pretty bad. So I was feeling a little nervous because I was feeling like, I mean, this deck could definitely overpower me if you can't get those optimal starts. Like I mean, it even through resistance it hits quite hard, right?
Yeah.
Especially when he has the Deden to check. I can't just go for one huge evil toll. So game game three, I remember I had a fairly mediocre start in the beginning, but so did he. And there was a few there was like one time he flipped heads on a super scoop up, and it was fairly close. But I think there was like one decisive moment where I was going for a dark, or it might have been a dark or a DC, but it was going for something. And I was I had an option where I was like, okay, I can go for this, play this down, and then go for the Sycamore here. And I was like, wait, actually, with this compressor play, I could play everything down, grab the Archeops here, and it was like, it's 2 less cards, but he had like 3 Zubats in play or something. And I was like, I think that in the long term, I really don't want that damage, and I have to risk that I hit something off 5. So I went for the Archeops play, and I ended up hitting like a Darga DCE and like a Sycamore for the next turn.
Okay.
So I ended up having what I needed, and he has like a bunch of Zubats there that just aren't doing anything the rest of the game, basically. So from there, he kind of didn't have enough damage to really pressure me. I think at one point um I intentionally like the turn before attached like I had a DC Unitoad, but I put a Dark on that same Toad, knowing it wouldn't get knocked out. Hit him for 50, knowing that he couldn't do anything. Like there's no way for him to switch. There's no way for him to scoop up. So then the next turn, my Evil Tool could knock out his Lucario, and I sort of just played a bit of a trade game. And it came down to it the last turn where I was gonna have to end him. Hope he didn't have a way to get like Deden Muscle Band or something.
hmm
But I ended up topping the computer search, so I had DCE for the exact knockout on his Landers.
Well, congratulations on winning, sir.
Thank you.
All right. So I guess the first question is: you only played the one Archeops, and the other deck you played the 2 Empoleon. Now, did you ever want a second Archeops at all?
Um, I didn't know. I've got to say, like, it is a couple things. One is like with the Empoleon, there's a use if you get 2 in play, right?
hmm
Especially against like a fighting deck. Wait, I didn't face one, but I was concerned about one of those. And against that, if you're running well enough that you can, if you hit the right hands where you can hit like two Archies in a row, the 2 Empoleon would sort of secure that matchup. But with the Archeops, once you have the 1 in play, you don't really want it. Like even against the evolution decks, your attackers are good enough that if they're taking the time to knock it out, usually you're winning with your attacks. It could have mattered with prizing, but I didn't feel like running a 2/2 was worth the space. I felt like my deck could win without it, but it's just a cool extra thing to run like the 1/1 for.
Okay. Now, you did play the 4 Dark Patch. Did you ever have some like crazy Dark Patch play?
Yeah, I mean, I never ran too hard with the dark patches. I've got to say, I definitely have ran better with those at like Worlds the last 2 years when I've played it. This no, there was like a turn where I remember having one and regretting not trusting in my ability to run hot. It was kind of like like I made the safe play on one turn and like I was against a Flareon. I battle compressored. I think it was like an Archeops, a Dark, and like some card I just wouldn't want in that situation. Like I think it was like a Keldeo or something.
Uh-huh.
Um, because I wanted to draw the Dark to attach active to like I didn't want more Darks out of my deck, right?
Yeah.
But I ended up I think I ended up like drawing because I had two. Yeah, I already had two patches like in hand. Like I was, and I had one Dark and discard, so I was going for like the double patch already. So I was like, I mean, if I sent a third, I could triple patch, but I'd rather just get the attach active. But what ended like I ended up drawing like off just the 5 from the maxis. I hit like a third patch and a Dark. I was like, I should have just gone for it, but um. Beyond that, no, I didn't. I honestly, I ran well and then I kind of hit what I needed for everything, but I never had a too insane a play where I had like a turn one evil ball or something.
Okay. And I guess after playing regionals in day one and day two, would you make any changes to your list, or you think they're both pretty solid?
I definitely think both are really solid. I think one thing I debated back and forth on with the Evil Soul deck was is two things. One is I thought about cutting fourth compressor for second baby Yveltal
Mm-hmm.
because it's really good in Mirror, Toad, and VG. But I kept the compressor going for the Archeops play because I was pretty sure I'd be facing either Flareon or Trevenant Selgor like round like top 8. So I cared a little more about that. I feel like that can go either way.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also sort of wanted Trump card, but I also felt like it's not really needed, and I don't know that I have enough draw to burn through my deck to justify it. So I'm still mixed on whether I want a Trump card in there.
Okay. All right. And after winning regionals, how many championship points are you at right now?
I'm at I either 705 or 717, depending on whether this one league challenge counts. I've been told it should, but it's not up yet.
Okay. And how many championship points are you aiming for?
Um, I'm aiming for like I mean I don't actually know what's safe for a day two. I think I'm like second before Worlds points are added right now, and I still that's without them at like the 100 from that on the site. So I'm hoping that's safe, but
Yeah.
I actually have like if that league challenge counts, I still have like 5 best finish limits left for league challenges. Like we have like none of those,
Yeah.
so I'm looking into traveling to uh like traveling a bit and going to some leagues just to make sure because I wouldn't want to have been so close and then some people have some like sick runs like right at the at the last second and just I end up like 17th. That'd just be heartbreaking, right? So
Yeah, true. So, are you going to any more regionals coming up, or are you pretty much done with those?
I have this. I'm really slightly tempted to go to Edmonton just 'cause, like I've got friends there and they're like, oh, we got one more spot in the room, man, and it'd just be kind of fun to like play with the new format and just like, a little bit of me wants to, but like if I top 8, I only get like 5 CP for that, so I have to top 4 for like 35 points, so.
Holy cow.
It'd probably be smarter for me to just like spend however much I spend on that fight on like going to league challenges because I have 5 left. Um,
And
so
you're like
probably
guaranteed a
not.
15 if you win.
Yeah, uh, probably not. But like if a really cheap flight to Edmonton pops up, there's a chance.
Okay. Now, looking forward to the new set. Do you I guess have you tested any of it yet?
I've tested very little bit, like probably like 10 games or something.
Mm-hmm. And is there any decks that like spark any interest right now, or you just want to keep it on the down low?
I feel like it's actually a bit like a more diverse format than people think. I feel like people will realize that later though. Like right now, people are just like on either like Toad. I feel like people are really on like either Toad or the new like colorless Rayquaza deck.
Mm-hmm.
I think both of those are pretty strong. But I feel like a lot of the sort of decks that have been around longer will still be good. I mean, I think the safest deck that I might play, like if I had to play tomorrow, I'd probably just play a Toad deck, like some sort of Toad with like Shaman for draw, because I think that seems like super good. But
Okay.
I think with more testing and like as the format refines, like for nationals and worlds, I think like a lot of creative ideas will actually do pretty well.
All right. Well, do you want to give any shout outs to anybody?
Yeah, too. Okay. Shout out to my friend Trevor Reed, who I test with, because he's the one who gave me the deck and actually like tested it and told me it was good. Because if I just went by myself, I would have played like the standard eggs, which I don't feel was too strong for Seattle, and I don't know how I would if I would have done very well with that at all.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then shout out to Serena Radu, because we didn't have a hotel, and it was like our room, like our friend was supposed to go with us, like he canceled, and then so the Friday night we had a room at the hotel, but then the Saturday night they were completely booked.
Yeah.
So it was like I think it was around like 2 a.m. We asked her, and she's like, "Oh yeah, you can just like come back to my place and just like sleep on the floors or whatever." And like I think what ended up is like 3 a.m. I ended up sharing like a bed with like Colin Mall because he drove us there and was staying there and got like I got like 2 hours of sleep before. Oh, he won't even know this, but he like spread out his knee and took up like the whole bed at one point when I got up to pee and came back, and he took. So I guess that's an anti shadow because I could have slept more, but not after that. There's no
Well,
room on the. But yeah,
yeah.
it's pretty crazy.
I mean, still, it was nice for Serena to let you stay with her. That's
Yeah, it
pretty
was that
cool.
was incredibly nice of her. I mean, if we literally might have been on the street if she didn't take us in. So big shout out for that.
Okay. Alrighty, man. Well, thank you so much for doing this, and good luck at regionals if you go,
Oh,
and good luck at nationals. And I'll see you at Worlds again.
thank you, and yeah, see you at Worlds.
Alrighty, man. Take care.
You too.